So people see TVET as, in quotes, an institution where those who are not so good academically go in there. And so when you go there, there is a certain mark, but that has changed. The narrative has changed. TVET is for equally excellent students. And so that stigma, that stereotype needs to change. And it can change with all of us, even with you, the media, creating more awareness, helping people to understand that TVET is the way to go. If we want Ghana to grow economically, then we need to start looking at TVET, because like I said earlier, it is an avenue where practical skills are given to these young ones to excel. Just think about it. At your home, you have issues with plumbing, and the next time a plumber is coming is a female. How would you feel?
You would even ask yourself, are you really the plumber I called?
Or you go to a mechanic shop and the person to fix your car for you is a woman. We are changing the narrative, how happy you'll be. These days, it's even difficult to come by plumbers if you want plumbers. But if we are changing the narrative, we are telling our girls, we are orienting the parents at the community level, at national, sub-national levels, for them to understand that TVET is not what you think, but it is an avenue where your kids, your children will have those practical skills to survive in the 21st century. Then that's the way to go. So we've looked at the issue of role models. We've looked at the issues of stigma, where media also comes in, where you can use your platform to create awareness about TVET, that this is the way to go. Again, we want to look at even the environment within our TVET institutions. I quite remember that when results were out one of the years and a student didn't get the first choice, was looking at other schools, and then was offered another school which was available. And then quickly she went online to look at the school. And normally, you know, when you go online, you look at even the structure, the entrance, and all that.
And sometimes the reviews.
Exactly. And then she just looked at the entrance and said, no, this is not a school I want to go. So
even
you see,
even the gate itself.
Exactly. So the environment and everything, the landscape, all of those things would attract our girls. And of course, the safety. How safe are they being there as a girl, and even going an extent further to go into a male-dominated area? How would that be so welcoming to her? So these are some of the factors we need to look at. Even at the community level, are there TVET institutions for my students or for my children to see and to be attracted to say, well, when I finish junior high school and I want to transition to a higher level, I want to go to TVET. Yeah. And the last one I want to say is that we need to start early to get it right.
Exactly.
We cannot wait till the children are at the TVET institutions. That is when we are even now pushing them to choose those career pathways of not going the traditional fashion, hospitality, but veering off into the engineering and those technical areas. So we need to start at the basic school level to reorient our teachers, our learners, for them to understand that there is that TVET pathway which will help them to also contribute meaningfully to economic growth.
Let me take you with your very last one, reorienting. Starting it right to get it right. How do we do it?
So if we
is it all about identifying a talent? Is it about identifying a gift in that child? How do we do it?
So we need to tackle this issue at a systemic level. If I say at a systemic level, then we need to have policies, we need to have guidelines that direct the Ministry of Education and its agencies that implement TVET services to say that we have this model or we have this career guidance and counseling package which could help teachers, which can help learners at the basic school level, even before they start thinking about the career pathways they go into. And so they don't get to the end of that level before they start thinking, oh, do I need to go to TVET? No, they would have already understood what TVET education means for them and be able to make that choice that this is the way I want to go. So we need to have those policies, we need to have those systemic issues addressed, and then we can address it as a national agenda and not in projectized mode.
Do we have it as a country?
So currently, UNICEF is working with the Ghana Education Service to have this career guidance and counseling package that will help teachers and learners at the basic level to start making their career choices early, to understand what it means to go into TVET or what it means to go into a normal grammar school. And I think if we have that in place, at least it will help, together with all the other issues like the stigma issue we spoke about, like the role models issues. If all these things are there, then at least we can get somewhere.
Can you say that all these TVET things, as you're talking about, could be that the child building blocks at the KG, the class 1 person trying to learn how to draw better, and with all the technical skills that we do in school, the vocational skills that we used to do, as in, I think I used to do sewing. All of these can help so that it can, in a way, nurture the child, for the child to also know that, okay, this is where I am stronger at. I am better with maths, I'm better with science, but I can do more with sewing. I can do more with vocational skills, cooking. Can that be possible?
Yes, it can be possible at the basic level. And that's what I talked earlier about, starting early to get it right. Because if, like you said, even at the KG level, if you take the broader, even science, technology, engineering, mathematics that we call STEM agenda, you realize that you go to even a class and then you ask, especially at the base, early grade level, how many of you want to be doctors? And it's like, it's all
class.
And then you ask, a doctor, is it a man or a woman? And normally they will tell you a man. Or engineering, someone who builds roads or construct the houses and all that. I remember there was this young girl I met on the street one day having a chat with the mom. And then there was a construction of a building going on. And she said to the mom, you see, it's men building. And then the mom asked her, why are you saying it's men? And you see, that is the orientation. And we need to change that narrative, saying that it is men that we see in the building and construction industry. We need to get more of our females there. We need to allow the children to understand that it is not just for the men or the boys, but women can also do and do it very well. But it is all about this career guidance and counseling. How do we, as an education system, have these systems in place, have these structures in place to guide these learners through choosing their career pathways? Once we have those things in place, I think we will be making to the cooking, the catering,
which is the normal, the traditional one we all know.
Automotive, the woodwork, the mechanical engineering, the chemical engineering, all those engineering
We'll come there for you to tell us that, of course, it is not only the traditional one that we know of, the cooking, the beauty side, the cosmetology thing, but there are other ones, because you mentioned math, and people don't know that even with mathematics is it falls in place with TVET, right?
Yes, it does.
Yes.
It does. Maths does fall in place with TVET. Quite recently, I was talking to one of our partners in the TVET institution, and then she mentioned that there was this young girl who came in and wanted to do engineering. She was very curious to go into that field. And then she went in there and realized that that subject that she was running away right at the basic level, which was maths, was there. So how do they help? So they have programs at the TVET level where they support these learners to also be able to improve their proficiency in those programs that they struggle with.
Let's talk about starting it right to get it right. I think it's not only the educational system, but parents. How can parents help in this regard?
Parents really, really have a role to play when it comes to career choices for their girls. I remember I read this blog a few years ago about STEM programs and how even mothers have a greater influence on the programs that their girls or even boys choose to do at the end of the day. And it was interesting to see in that study that the women or the mothers were encouraging the girls to go in for more of the arts programs and encouraging the boys to go in for more the technical, the engineering, the mathematics, and the science programs. So it is very important that even within the career guidance and counseling, one of the key stakeholders that we are looking at as UNICEF to orient on this package once it's available is the parents. Because remember, these are the ones who also support to nurture these children, who support them in terms of their career choices at home and all that. So we need to really reorient them for them to also understand what TVET means, what grammar school means, what career choices means, what can girls go in for, and how we can change the narrative. So parents are very important stakeholders that we need to pay attention.
Parents are very important stakeholders that we need to pay attention to. UNICEF.
Ghana, it is for us a first step with the Ghana TVET service to strengthen data collection and the generation of evidence. So that's the backdrop for our research that we did in the Ashanti region, which is a skills supply and demand side assessment, a situational analysis of the Ashanti region.
This report is not just about numbers, it's about the future of skills training in Ghana. As we now have concrete data on where the gaps between the supply and the demand side really are.
We've seen that with regard to fashion design and garment, there's a significant oversupply in the Ashanti region, whereas in agricultural trades or ICT trades, there is a significant undersupply. We have also seen that when you ask TVET principals, TVET facilitators, but also the students themselves, that they consider themselves actually relatively prepared for the world of work. But on the other hand, when you speak to the private sector, they don't necessarily agree.
If you look at the Swami Enclave, it's one of the largest artisanal enclave in sub-Saharan Africa. If you look at artisanal ingenuity, we need TVET institutions that will lead the conversation to improve what they do here.
Additional insight that we have is actually the centrality and the relevance of soft skills or life skills, or even, as you may call them, 21st century skills. It is that employers said that almost equally of being able to put things together up to a certain standard is that it is also critical to have a positive attitude of being a team player, of communicate well, of work independently, to even ask questions, to think critically.
TVET education is very important to us, the young ladies especially. They have identified the problems the industries need, so that they'll give that education or that skills to us in our various institutions. So when we are coming out, we are fully prepared and equipped for the work.
lucky. Voice coming to you live from our studios here at the Broadcasting House. This afternoon, we have the education officer from UNICEF in the person of Rhoda Angel. She's sharing with us what UNICEF is doing as far as empowering girls in that UNICEF is doing to empower girls and to ensure that girls have a say or they are empowered, encouraged to move into the TVET areas. And it is not only the traditional ones, but she was talking about the mathematics, she was talking about the engineering, she was talking about the construction, of which girls must be empowered to do so. So let's go on with our discussion. I wanted to find out, how do we address some of the resource facilities? You realize that most of the campuses, whilst we're talking, a girl just looked at a school with just the gate and said, I'm not entering. I didn't know that there are a lot of things to that. How do we address all of these shortfalls or the resource facilities that we have in our TVET schools? And then you can talk about a bit about the projects that UNICEF is doing.
Yeah, so we need to come together as stakeholders to work together to make sure that the TVET service delivery is actually happening and achieving its intended purpose. Let me just even give you a bit of background into where Ghana has come from in terms of TVET and where we are. I think that will help people to better appreciate even the progressive gains that the country has made when it comes to TVET. So a few years ago, if you remember, TVET was, I would say, was spread out among different ministries, over 8 ministries or so. But through the Education Regulatory Body Act, in 2020, there was a whole realignment of all the TVET services that was scattered across the different ministries to be harmonized under the Ministry of Education. And so currently we have the GTVET as one of the agencies under the Ministry of Education. Under the Act, there was also the establishment of the CTVET, which is the Commission for TVET, which regulates and promotes TVET. Whereas we have the GTVET that manages and implements TVET programs. So that's a bit of background, and that also tells us that successive governments have remained committed to improving TVET.
We have come far.
Quite recently, in 2025, there was also a National Education Forum, and TVET was highlighted as one of the key areas that needs to be prioritized because, of course, I'll come to the studies that UNICEF has supported to do, but evidence shows that TVET or skills education is the way to go. UNICEF does not give employment, but we give people employability skills to be able to thrive and also to contribute to national growth. Again, Ghana, we should remember that is also a signatory to the Sustainable Development Goals. And if you look at the Goal 4, it talks about equitable, inclusive education for all and lifelong learning. And that is why UNICEF over the years has consistently worked with the government to ensure that children's rights in all the other areas, health, education, protection, and all that is upheld to the latter. And so we work with government within the Ministry of Education and working within the TVET space. Like I said not long ago, it's new that it's now come under the umbrella of Ministry of Education. So for us as even UNICEF, it's a new area of work for us. And so what have we done to make sure that we can provide the relevant support? Our work is always backed by evidence and the data. So we go into a lot of research, doing research to understand the issues on the ground. And as we saw in the video,
it's all Ashanti region.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So this is what we did. The outcome is what we have here. So we did a scale, supply, and demand
Can you show it to the camera? Let's
analysis.
See how. Oh, okay.
So this was launched. This is the entire report, but this gives you a snapshot of the key highlights from the report. This was launched last year in Kumasi. You know, Kumasi is one of the regions with the highest number of TVET institutions in Ghana. So we decided to start there to understand what are the demand side issues, what are the supply side issues, what are the skills gaps within the TVET institution if we should look at Ashanti region. And it was very interesting, some of the findings that came out. For instance, if you look at the programs that the learners are going in for, they are going in, if you look at there is oversupply in fashion and catering, and there is undersupply in ICT and agriculture. You think about Kumasi as an area where it's a forest zone and all that, so there should be more. So this study is really being an eye-opener to help us understand what are the issues on the ground, how are current TVET institutions operating, and even to go a step further to look at the demand side. Those who need the services of these learners at the end of the day, they need to be in institutions to support. What are employers saying about their skills? Are there skills gap? Are there mismatch and all that? If you have a look at the report, I think there is a lot that we can take. As we speak now, there are 2 more studies also going on in the north, because we need to also understand
because I
issues.
wanted to find out, was it only going to be done in Kumasi?
No.
Because whilst we have these, it should be a stepping
stone
for,
to help
other regions.
Service delivery and also working at the systems level. So in the north, currently, there is an ongoing study similar to what has happened in the Ashanti region. And once the reports are also ready, I'm sure we'll have the opportunity to engage with you, the media, to also share the findings. And then also in the south, in some child labor prone districts in the country, there are also studies also currently ongoing within the supply and demand side assessment when it comes to the TVET institution. So at the end of the day, it helps us as UNICEF, it helps us as our partners within the government to understand what the issues are, what the bottlenecks are, and what we need to prioritize to help us to improve at the system level and also to improve service delivery, so that at the end of the day, our girls are going to go in, you know, for the technical, the engineering and all that.
So with this particular one in Kumasi, what did you see? Apart from the very first one that you mentioned, what else did you see?
So we also saw that in terms of enrollments, there has been an increase. If you look at the enrollment data from
TVET schools, where we have more girls. Oh, okay.
From 2018 to 2023-2024 academic year. So in 2018-2019 academic year, there was about 2,500. But in 2023-2024, about 8,300 plus, which shows that, yes, there's been an increase in the enrollment figures. Of course, the free TVET policy also supported in increasing access to TVET institutions among girls. But we still have that challenge of, you know, the male-dominated areas. The girls are still going in for the traditional fashion, hospitality. And if you look at the overall data, it tells us that we have about 38%, roughly 35 to 38% of girls who are in TVET institution. And out of that number, we have less than 10% going into the engineering and the male-dominated, the building and construction.
Is it for lack of fear?
An example. Yeah. I remember my colleague was in the OT region, and then they visited some of the TVET institutions. In one of the schools, they had 100% of females in the hospitality class. When it came to fashion, they had about 99%. In the electrical engineering, guess what the percentage was? Can you guess?
I might be wrong.
It was 4%. In building and construction, it dropped to 1%. And then woodwork and automotive, it was none.
Is it that we are not doing much, or is it that the girls are afraid, they are scared? You know, apart from the stigma, is it like that? Or we are not encouraging the girls enough?
So it starts with all of us.
Okay.
It starts with you, the media, and I'm happy about the work you are doing now to encourage, the women, the girls, to go into these male-dominated areas. And I think the factors that we've spoken about in terms of role models, are there even female teachers? I'll tell you a story about one lady called Maud in the Bono region, one of the TVET institutions. My colleague visited there and shared that story with us. So she said she finished school, she wanted to go into the TVET, but people try to say, well, it's a male-dominated area. But her older brother encouraged her to go into that area.
It's about the home as well.
So she went in for mechanical engineer. Now she is a vice principal for the school that she had as a woman. And through that, a girl has models. If you have the women standing in front of you teaching, you think twice. You're like, so this area is not just for the men. At least me, a girl or a woman, I can, if my teacher has been, because for this Priscilla girl, she was very curious. Even though her classmates and all that were like, oh, why are you going? Is it because you just want to mingle with the boys? Or why are you going into? She said she was very curious. And that teacher also was an inspiration for her to go into that area. So with the existence of role models, with this career guidance and counseling at the basic school level, at least to support these learners so that when they are choosing their schools, they are not going in just for the grammar schools, they are going in for the TVET schools, and on top of that, going in for the male-dominated.
I just saw a lady in one of your shorts with a crown. What was it about?
It was with a crown?
Yes.
Maybe I did.
You didn't see it well. The videos will come again, and then probably you would have a look at it. Let's look at how the girls would love to go. But you know, when you go there, it's resourced. How put all of these behind us so that the TVET institutions will be well resourced, like the grammar schools where they have the needed equipments to work with?
I think earlier on I talked about partnerships. All stakeholders need to come on board. If you look at the TVET service,
there's a lady, if you can remember her story. Anyway, you continue.
So we have 3 areas. We have the formal in terms of service delivery within the TVET. You have the formal, you have the non-formal, and then you have the informal. For the formal is the public and private schools, TVET schools, where people go in there to get their education and all that. For the non-formal, this is where other partners also come into play. Other development partners, NGOs, CSOs, the private sector, faith-based organizations also come in there to provide that support. Some girls may even not want to be in school at all. So how do you provide them with those basic skills in some of these areas? We have an institute, an NGO we call We North. They are predominantly in the north, trying to help young women with basic skills in plumbing, in construction, so that at the end of the day, they can also work and earn something for themselves. You also have the informal sector, apprenticeship program being, managed by the men and all that. So these are the different service delivery points. And I think another area we can also look at is PPP, the public-private partnerships. How do we get the private sector to come in, to work with government, to collaborate? You know, for the learners in the TVET institution, they have something they call the workplace experience learning, they call WELL. Getting the exposure, the experience. Is there a way that they could also partner and give back to the institutions that are producing these learners? So we need to also start looking at the public-private partnerships and see how they can also support to bridge the gap in terms of infrastructure for the schools.
Talking about employability skills that UNICEF gives to the people. I want us to go for a very short break, after which when we come back to the studio, we will discuss this. But you can join us on the telephone 055-696-3659, 055-696-3659. We are discussing empowering the girls through TVET, redefining strengths and then reshaping the future. TVET has gone ones that we know to now the engineering, the construction, and to other things that we may not even know. So Rhoda will tell us all about that one. Just a quick break.
In 1965, Ghana chose her own value. From cowries and pounds, the city was born. Our pride in our own hands. It flowed through markets, palms, and memories, and became part of daily life. Through every season of change, the city has remained a constant in Ghanaian life. In 2007, we took a bold step, ushering in a new era of confidence and stability. Today, the city lives in banks, markets, and apps, rooted in tradition, shaped by history, carried by innovation. 60 years on, it remains our heritage, our identity, our pride. Know the city. Keep it clean.
We shall tell our own stories, narrate our own details, watch the continent with our own speckles and through our own lenses. We shall tell our stories better, ups and downs, the pleasant and unpleasant without a slant. Stories from Africa, by Africans, told by Africans, understood by the world. All this and more within Africa on Tuesdays and Fridays at 4:05 p.m. on GBC News. Within Africa with Multiti.
Yes, so you're still watching Women's Voice coming to you live from our studios here. This afternoon, we are discussing girls in TVET, redefining strength, rewriting the future. TVET has gone a long way. We have gone a long way as a country as well, as far as TVET education is concerned. So UNICEF has been collaborating, or it is collaborating with the government of Ghana to ensure that girls are well empowered to move into TVET. And as we went on the break, Rhoda was telling us that UNICEF gives employability skills. You want to find out what it's all about. Yes, so Rhoda.
So, giving employability skills, I'll cite an example, and this is a very normal and very familiar example that people normally say, that if you want to help someone, help them to know how to catch the fish, and don't give them the fish. Because if it finishes, they will come back and ask for more, right? But if you help them to be able to know how to catch it, then without your help tomorrow, at least they can be able to do that right. So
they already have the tools.
Exactly. So what UNICEF does is we partner with government to ensure that at the system level, at the service delivery level, we have that enabling environment for learning to happen. Okay. Remember, we spoke about giving these learners the skills, the practical skills, giving them the knowledge, giving them the confidence, because through the workplace experience learning, they also get exposed to some of these things. And once they get the skills, then they don't even wait for you to give them that employment. Just think about it. If I sit here and I'm a plumber and you have a problem in your house, the next time you are calling me, I'm coming in, I fix, I get my money and then go. Gradually, I can also even set up my own institution, have more people, employ more people. I'm also kind of creating employment even for other people. So once they have the skills, we believe that they will have that employability skills to survive within a time where even unemployment is so high. But they have the skills to be able to work. So that is what we do. We will work with the institutions. We will continue to work with them to provide the technical support and whatever is needed within the limited resource space, physical space we have.
We have a caller on the line. Let's pick that call briefly and then we'll come back to you. Thanks for joining us. Good afternoon. Your name and where you're calling from, please. Please, your name and where you're calling from. Hello? We seem not to hear the person well. So if I'm getting you right, it's more about empowering them and then reducing all the line. Thanks for joining us. Please, your name and where you're calling from.
My name is Isaac.
Okay.
I want to contribute. I want to ask a question. It's about these companies and institutions. For example, GBC, we have training school for training people to become technicians and stuff like that. But when you finish, the certificate you are holding, it becomes a problem. There's nothing like, what should I say, authentic. It's not authentic. You see, we need the institution to get certificates for, like, for example, maybe you are doing training at Ghana Water Company. When they finish, can you take it outside to work and those things? They have to make it more attractive or something like that. So that's what I want to know.
Thank you so much for your contribution. I think UNICEF has heard it, and then moving forward, they would try and add it to their plans so that whatever they are doing with government, they would ensure that where people go for the technical or the technical schools, the certificate is authentic, or where they go for their practical studies, they'll be able to go out.
So is it about the where they do the internship programs that they are not getting the certificates to send back to school? Or
is the certificate, probably he thinks that when they should be able to get a certificate which will enable them to work.
So this is from the industry side.
From the industry side.
Okay.
So as he mentioned, if you go in to work with Ghana Water Company,
then Ghana Water should give you a certificate.
There should be something which is authentic, that I've worked with so and so, of which I'll be able to say that I can be a good plumber when your pipe is best or something.
Yeah, because what I'm aware about is normally they give kind of a recommendation letter and all that. But I think looking at a certificate, then that is something that we would also discuss with TVET.
Exactly. So moving on, how can girls challenged to pursue non-traditional fields? We mentioned the construction, we mentioned the engineering, a young lady going with a mother asking, if men are the only people who can do this construction thing?
Yes, so we can change the narrative for the girls. Like I've said throughout the discussion, we need to start right. Because that young girl I saw with the mom, I think was even in kindergarten. And at that age, if she's thinking that construction is for men, then you understand where the orientation is coming from. So we need to tackle it at different levels. We need to tackle it at the community level, at the home level, even through the parent-teacher association. If we can have these orientations happening at the school level, we also want to make sure that our teachers have the capacity to also support these learners in terms of career pathways and career choices. Once we are doing this, once we are also creating more awareness through different platforms, social media, through the normal traditional media platform, TV, radio, a lot of awareness program. I know in the past, TVET has even had programs like My TVET, My Future, Invest in Her. All these programs are helping.
Okay.
And let me
before you end, let's pick up a call and then hold on briefly for me. Thanks for joining us.
Yes, please. I am calling from Bokwa State. I am calling from Bokwa State.
Mom.
I am calling from Bokwa State.
Mom.
I am per what my colleague is saying, I'm also a teacher and I'm also a girls coordinator in my school. And I've known Auntie Mavis in Takrady way back in Complex. She had been my junior in school. And I like her effort when we were in school. And to date, what he's doing for girls. And one thing I want to tell Auntie or suggest is that I would like her to tell our nation Ghana that sometimes the girls that they educate them in the jobs that she's talking about, they must create a place that when the girls are done with that course, instead of them letting the girls create jobs for themselves, they can also let the girls be known in the community or in their nation that they have better had education on what they have studied. And for them, when they leave them, they can be able to discharge their duties well. So I suggest that that should be a very important point, that they also have to sell the girls out to the nation so that people will believe in them and then patronize in whatever they do. I think that would be better enough than only letting them creating jobs for themselves afterwards, because people don't know them much into what they've done. So if their area is able to let the nation know that they are experts in the area that they have studied, the nation will contribute or patronize to whatever they have studied. And therefore, it's a way of the girls to move forward. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your contribution. So, Rhoda,
yes,
I guess you heard it.
Yes, right. I heard her, and I think it's more about creating more awareness, exposing these girls, making the public aware that we have these girls who have gone into these areas, have excelled, and are there.
We have to, it's more of pushing them through the ladder. When they do that thing distinctively, we should be able to proudly outdoor them at programs.
Exactly. And also become role models for other girls.
Young people.
One thing I think we can also do as a nation in helping these girls to also see these jobs as attractive, not as jobs or even finished. Can we start even having a list of those careers or those technical areas that are in high demand? I talked about the plumbers. These days, it's even difficult to come by them. Can we look at some of these areas and say that if our girls want to go into some of these technical areas, these are
as well. We have a caller. Thanks for joining us. Please, your name and where you're calling from, your contribution, your suggestions or questions.
I'm calling from Tema.
Okay.
My name is Yao.
Okay. Your contribution, go ahead, your question.
Okay. The UNICEF, I think Rhoda, with UNICEF, they are doing a great job. My statement is they are doing a great job, but I know what I'm saying is above her. Her organization should stop slipping through the non-Ghanaian cultural things that they are trying to add to the education. You know, like the LGBTQ tenants that they want to slip through. They should stop it because it won't help us to have well-trained women who are emotionally warped. You know, so I beg you, I'm saying this for your bosses to hear that we are aware that much as they are trying to help, they're also trying to slip into the LGBTQ culture that we don't want. They should stop it. I have 2 daughters, and I encourage them to go into anywhere they can go and get the best training, not to be limited by what they say men's domination. But the LGBTQ thing must be stopped. We are not happy about it. Thank you very much.
Contribution. So, Rhoda, we can go ahead with what you were talking about as far as the engineering. And all that thing. This is just something that came in for your bosses to hear and for you to, you might not be able to comment on it now, but we're still talking about TVET and how to push some of these things forward.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I spoke about the area where we can look at the programs that are in high demand, and of course, if those courses are in high demand when it comes to employment and all that, we can encourage our girls to go in for those programs so that once they finish, I mean, the jobs are already there and it will look more attractive for the girls.
But is there a way to say that, okay, girls who want to go into TVET, who want to go into engineering, who want to go into these particular way, we want to give you some incentives. We want to make it a bit lighter, something for you. Or it should still be, since we should all go through the drill.
I think a good thing that has come with the whole setup of the GTVET is the fact that they have also set up a gender and inclusion unit within the TVET sector. Right. So this TVET sector has been very intentional about addressing issues that affect girls. So once the girls are within these institutions, this gender unit looks at very key issues. It looks at issues of counseling, issues of, workplace experience, all the issues around it. Of course, they also need that support. So in the past, or in the past 1 to 2 years, what UNICEF has also done was to support the TVET service to also have a Safe Schools initiative. And this Safe Schools initiative, we started with the Ghana Education Service and has also adapted it to suit the TVET context. And it addresses issues of sexual harassment, bullying, corporal punishment, provision of psychosocial support, and also bringing in the disability issues, because we have these girls also within the TVET institution. And I'm proud and happy to say that TVET services, as a matter of fact, for all their institutions across the country, when they are doing their orientation for first years, they have also embedded this training in the orientation program, which is providing that environment for the girls to understand that it is safe and all that. And I also want to mention that all the programs, all the trainings that we have done, the caller mentioned something, but we have always made sure that we work collaboratively with the government of Ghana, and we make sure that whatever is delivered to the teachers, to the learners, is what is culturally acceptable by the institutions that we work with, and not bringing anything foreign which is not acceptable within the context that we work in. So you can have a look at all the training packages and everything that is in place for both the TVET service and the Ghana Education Service, and would see that everything there which is in the public has always been something that is acceptable within the context,
foreign, as you said.
Not foreign.
Can we look at scholarship for these girls? Is there a way? And then let's look at your final words as far as TVET is concerned, reshaping the lives of our young girls. So is there some scholarships that we can give to some of these girls? And then your encouragement for a girl out there who is watching you and might think that it is only cosmetology, it is only beautician, it is only cooking, sewing, that is TVET.
Yeah, so I'm aware that there are some programs by institutions, organizations like MasterCard Foundation with the TVET institution to support some vulnerable girls who are identified within the TVET institutions and supported to even transition to the tertiary level. So I know that these packages are there to support vulnerable girls. Of course, there is a free TVET policy which supports these girls, but some of these additional complementary funding also goes a long way to support those who are very vulnerable and without those services may be at the verge of dropping out. And that is why it shouldn't be just a government affair. We need all stakeholders to come on board to support in this area. So
speak to that young girl out there, speak to that parent out there too. Start it right so that we get it right. In just a minute, so we wrap up the show.
So to our dear young girls out there who are fearing of venturing into the very technical areas, we have a lot of examples. I spoke about a teacher who, through support from home, from the older brother, was able to sail through her career, was able to go into the technical area, and now is serving as a vice principal for a TVET institution, is serving also as a role model for other girls in the school. And one girl has gone into an engineering area and is doing so well. So it is not beyond you. It is something within your means that you can do. If you focus, if you put your mind to it, if you go in there, UNICEF will also continue to work with government to ensure that gender issues, gender equality when it comes to access to education, when it comes to access to lifelong learning, when it comes to TVET, which is the way to go because it's providing that practical, technical skills, knowledge, and confidence for our girls to also contribute to economic growth.
SKC, skills, knowledge, and confidence. That is what TVET stands for. Yes, of course, you can do it. Yes, of course, you can be that engineer. You can be that construction firm head. You can do it, my girl. You can do it. That is all time will allow us today on Women's Voice. Do join us again on Monday. Thanks for watching.